I had been looking forward to reading Daughter of the Empire for quite some time, and while I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, this is a heck of a book. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Daughter of the Empire by Raymond Feist and J. Wurts. And this is the first book in the Empire trilogy, which is the follow-up trilogy, but happens roughly at the same time as the original Rift War trilogy. And yeah, I meant to get to this for quite some time. I really liked Magician, and the next two books I liked, but not as much. But then this, of course, is Jamie Wurts co-authoring it, so that really was a draw for me. But I wanted to read all of Janie's stuff first. I did that quite some time ago as well, and I just still hadn't quite gotten to this. So now I finally had. This was actually it was a patron pick, and I'm like, perfect, great excuse to get to it. And I went in with this book, I really expecting to love it. I saved this to be my last read of the year, thinking I'm going to love it. It's going to finish the year strong. And so it took me a little bit longer to get into it than I would have expected. And I ended up being about 4.5, so still rounds to 5, but not like the resounding 5-star love. So granted, 4.5 certainly ain't bad. This is a very good book, and I enjoyed a lot about it. But it did just take me a little bit to fully get into, and I think part of that was I was a little slumpy, and part of that was this is doing some more traditional fantasy things. But the thing I really wanted to talk about here is not what it does, but what it doesn't do, because it's actually one of the things that I appreciated the most here about this. So this is following Mara, who is in sort of a convent type place when her father and brother are murdered, and so now she's the only heir to the house of the Akoma, and so she has to go and become the lady and try to navigate through all of this stuff where her house is in a really bad state, and she's got to try to find allies and survive. And this is the book where it's her trying to figure that out in really inventive ways. And so you get a lot of Mara really like scheming in creative ways to try to um, do tricks or get things, and just things that would get her in power, which is really enjoyable, and seeing those bits to it as well. And also navigate what she has to do, including, political marriage, including going to events where, her life might be in danger because she's consorting with enemies. And so there's a lot of those kinds of things. Now, with this type of story, you do get a lot of Mara, figuring things out, trying to get the best of it. But also you have a lot of situations where it's just things aren't going to really work and she doesn't have a lot of choices. And what I really like is, I feel like, especially in more modern fantasy, and not it's not even just in modern, sometimes it's in older stuff too, but especially you'll get situations like this, and you get these sort of like the way a teenager today would react to it is what you get. And I read some things where I'm like, this is supposed to be not only in a fantasy world, but it's got these different structures, the way things are set up, and yet you have a teenager acting like an American teenager would, and it drives me nuts. And so I really appreciated, there are lots of examples throughout the book here in Daughter of the Empire where Mara is faced with a decision, and instead of going the way some authors would, where she's like appalled or just like refuses to go along with what she has to go along with, she sucks it up and deals with it, keeps plotting behind the scenes, but at least at face value, goes along with what is required of her in order to play the long game. And I just feel like so often with these things, you have the character doing very short-sighted things that, of course, usually end up working because, of course, they will. And here we don't have that. So it felt much more realistic, and it was really a nice change because even though some of the things I've definitely seen a lot of the elements being here, and that's, Rift War is at its heart is taking traditional fantasy and adding some more unique and different elements, and just doing this on this broad scale. And so I think there'll be a lot more world building too, but this was interesting to see a little bit more of Kelowon from this viewpoint as well, because this is taking place on Kelowon. So it was really interesting seeing that. But again, I appreciated the way that was handled with the character. Now, it was good, but it didn't like branch till great until I was a little over halfway through, I think, where things like really hit the fan all of a sudden. And it was where you had some big plans going on, and it's not revealed to you everything that's happening in a way that it's not that it's necessarily hiding for you, but it's the story's being told. Things are going, but you don't necessarily know what's going to happen because the character is never actually out loud saying it, and we're not spending time just like hopping around in their head, so you don't necessarily know what's going to happen. And there are some things where you think you kind of see where some things are going, but the connotations are a little bit different, or there's these other pieces. And so there's just some like masterwork done on with the political maneuvering and the way that things are happening. And I think the politics and that type of stuff is what really got people pulled in with this book as well. So once that stuff really kicks into overdrive, it's like, ooh, yeah, I'm really quite liking that. And just all of the little smart things that are done. So I ended up really enjoying it. And so I'm really looking forward to the next two books as well. I think now that we're kind of there, for me, I think I might end up enjoying the next two books even more. But I'll have to see. I do hope to get to them sooner rather than later, just because now that I finally am getting going on this, I'd like to continue, but I am excited. And now, naturally, the fact that Janie Wurts had a hand in it, I assume that I'm going to enjoy it. And while this is definitely different both from Feist's style and Wurts' style, since they worked on this together, they're definitely like, I'd get like a paragraph where I'm like, Janie wrote that. I'm very familiar with her style. I've read all of her books, and some of them multiple times. And so very familiar. And there's like, I'm like, that little bit that had to be Janie, and I'd be pretty confident that I'm right with that. But kind of a meshing there, so it's really nice prose wise, but still really easily readable and easy to get through. But yeah, this is the shortest one. I know the next ones are a lot longer, but I'm excited to get to these because this was good. And like I said, despite the fact that I didn't end up loving this as much as I thought it would be, just a flat out 5-star, this was a really strong end of the year to me, and I appreciated so much about what this did and did not just take the more basic or the easy approach with a lot of things. Usually it was about the long game, about the deeper ramifications, and a character who's forced to really think about that and what they can deal with short term to make sure that long term things work out. And so there's a lot of stuff that's set up here that I think is going to have really big stuff happening down the line as well. So I'm excited to continue. Really, those are my thoughts on Daughter of the Empire by Raymond Feist and Janie Wurts. Let me know your thoughts here too. Like I said, I know this is really beloved, so that's about probably as tepid as I can get on anything Wurts is attached to. I just feel like I'm gonna end up enjoying, but really solid book, and one I really enjoyed, and very strong finish to the year. So let me know your thoughts on this and or the rest of the trilogy. Like I said, I'll hopefully be continuing soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description as always for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizarding the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun. I'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.